Hey, what's up, fam? This chapter for One Piece, I think, really spells out one of the real problems that I think I've realized both recently, but also one that I've kind of been stemming on for a while. Is there's a whole part when they mention this guy, Hyogoro the Flower, and I was talking to somebody earlier about Whitebeard, and obviously when he revealed that One Piece was real, and it spawned up as pretty much a second surge, like big surge of pirates, because now that One Piece has been revealed real by Whitebeard, all these people are a lot more hyped up to try and go find it. All these people that otherwise probably wouldn't do it if they didn't know it was real doing it, and in that mindset, say something like I talked about in I think I talked about a little bit in my last live stream about if the next My Hero Academia arc is a prison break, you could have all these villains show up that are big deals that would otherwise be in prison, but now they're out, so they could be relevant to the story again. But you'd think that with One Piece, once all these characters are now like now we're definitely going to be pirates look for One Piece, you'd think that all these people who have all this potential are going to spring up and really kind of join into things, and you'd be able to have much more of this newer generation of pirates. But it hasn't really felt like that at all. I think One Piece, there's too much building up of all these big deals that have been like existed for so long, but people never really mention them until till now. And I think you get something like this Hyogoro the Flower or whatever guy. Like he's apparently was a big deal, but he's been captured for however long. Don't know if I didn't look to see if maybe he was weakened by the Sea Stone cuffs, and I don't think so or what. But I think it has too many parts where it builds up older, like kind of like the older generation, or brings in some character that's been a big deal for a while, and doesn't really bring in any of this newer kind of setup, because you have really the only characters like of the younger generation were already big deals and like up and coming before that whole thing, with Whitebeard revealing One Piece to be real, and it doesn't really it doesn't really build much around that whole moment. It really just kind of makes it feel really hollow in the long run of things. But um, not only that, the fact that Luffy is pretty much fine, like he's relatively fine in prison. I said at the end of Act One, because it's supposed to be like Wano is supposed to be like 5 acts, 4 or 5 acts or whatever. The end of Act One, I actually liked it because it seemed like it was on purpose that Luffy was steamrolling through everyone just to get one shot by Kaido, and it really took him out of the feel, like out of the flow of how he was, and put him in this all-time low kind of position. He was humiliated. He thought his crew was killed, which I don't think he's found out if they're okay or not, and yet there's no real there's no real effect feel from that. And not only that, like he's in prison doing hard time, and he's being treated like junk, and it doesn't feel like it's affecting him in any way. But we saw at the end of Act One, like just that look on his face when he was being, hauled off to prison. Like he's walking there on his 2 feet while these guys have him chained up on horses or whatever animals they were, and he just looks like enraged. But like immediately after that, he's perfectly fine. He's like being his old jokey normal self. And I think it was a huge waste for what could have been like seeing a different side of him. And it just kind of got worse from there, because even while incarcerated, he's just beating down all of these prison guys who somehow, while Luffy is handcuffed up and in jail, surrounded by the enemy, he doesn't seem intimidated at all. It doesn't seem like their like force really has any weight to him. And it just kind of builds up the exact same thing as it's been. Like, look at the Big Bomb Pirates. Almost all of them were garbage, and a lot of them didn't really seem to have a purpose other than just being some colorful character with some weird aspects to them. I'm curious to know if it's going to be like that, where really it's just going to be like Kaido and probably king because we already seen Jack is garbage. He's a humiliation machine, and Queen seems more like he's gonna be in that spot that Cracker was, where he's gonna be a little bit of a more of an inconvenience to Luffy, where in reality he's not that big of a threat. Like the only reason that the only reason Cracker really seemed that much of a deal to Luffy was just the number of his little minions he had. But we already know that once pushed, Luffy could have managed to somehow unlock the the future sight Haki and then just gone Snake Man anyway. Nor did he use anything like any of his biggest attacks. He didn't try and use King Kong gun or anything. Like the second something like that would have impacted, it'd be over. But it just feels like Queen is going to be that same character where he's literally just going to be someone for Luffy to fight before it gets to the bigger ones down the road. And obviously that's not a big that's not new to shonen, but it definitely feels formulaic and it feels too much like these characters are literally just like set up to get knocked down, but in a not in a story written way, literally just being like throwing food like, to a to an animal just to kind of distract them before they end up doing what they're gonna do anyway. And it's just I think it kills off a lot of the hype. I really wish that it was more like that it was more set to where Luffy is fighting weaker people, but because he's in these cuffs, he's struggling more. He's weakened. Maybe he's got to learn to fight without his powers that in a way will affect him further along the ways. Like maybe if he learned something like the idea of fighting smaller might be able to help him because obviously when he bloats himself up and does all these things, he becomes a bigger target. Maybe it'd be something like he can go like fourth tier, but he condenses like all of that like bloated muscle into like just this compact, same size, but like all that power like it'd be condensed, so it would probably carry more weight because it'd be on a smaller surface area hitting stuff. I don't know. Like I said, this is just off topic. Like, well, it's short headcanon speculation. Well, not really headcanon, fan theory speculation, but I don't know. I didn't really even bother. Like, I'm not even gonna bother to go over the Big Mom stuff in this chapter. It was stupid. I don't like Big Mom. She's a waste of character and hype. Like, literally, the only thing I really took out of that is how quickly some of her crew was like ready to go on without her and change their name to either the Paros Pharaoh Pirates or the Katakuri Pirates. That's the only thing really about like that whole area where I paid any attention to because it was just like she barely holds any weight of characters. She's just a big idiot who people don't want to mess with because she'll eat them. Like trash character. But I don't know. I had actually like going into Act Two. I had a lot of I was hyped. I had a lot of hope because I liked how Act One ended. But it's been I don't know. I think it's been a little bit of a disappointment so far, and at least for me. Some people obviously have really been liking it, but whatever. Other than that, drop a comment below on what you think about this. I would prefer it to, to enjoy One Piece than to shit on it. But if I got complaints and criticism, like I've always said, I'll give them regardless if it's popular or not. Though the chapter also is on break next week. Yet My Hero Academia was on break this week. We can always goddamn breaks and 7 Deadly Sins. But anyway, like I said, drop a comment below on what you think about this chapter, what you thought about it, and thumbs up the video, please, if you enjoyed it. Befriend the like button and subscribe for more, and maybe check out my other videos. But on that, I appreciate everyone who's already subscribed, and I thank you all for listening. Bye.